Hey guys, it's Slentay. I gotta say, the only reason this video took as long as it did to make, and not even really as to make, just to put out there for you guys, was solely due to me just waiting to see if Nintendo was going to announce a Direct. And knowing Nintendo, they're probably going to announce a Direct right after I make this video and upload it, which I'm going to be very pissed off afterwards. But there's a lot I've missed. This is the first gaming news video of 2020, so let's get into all this news. Of course, if I miss anything, or if you guys have any thoughts on anything mentioned in this video, sound off in the comments. So let's get into this. Ghost of Tsushima finally got a release date for June 26th, and you know, this is a game I've always had my eye on since it got revealed, because originally Sucker Punch had taken like a pretty long time to reveal their next game because it had been a while since they released Infamous Second Son and First Light. So I thought, man, they're taking a long time to make their next game, so they're probably making a new IP, and they made a new IP, and it looks cool. It's just the last gameplay we got was from E3 2018. Like, the footage that was in my most anticipated games list of last year, that was the last gameplay we got of this game, and now we get a release date out of nowhere. You know, Sucker Punch has never really made a bad game before, and all this does is just worry me as to what this game is going to have for us. Like, what are the mechanics? What are we actually going to be doing? I get it, you guys have a story, you guys have a photorealistic world, but what are we actually going to be doing when we pick up the controller and play? All we have is like that 10-minute clip from 2 years ago. So hopefully there will be like a state of play, of just Ghost of Tsushima gameplay, and we can just finally get into what this game is going to be about from a gameplay perspective. So hopefully we get some gameplay on this, because it's getting kind of spooky. Speaking of that, it is getting really spooky in these Sly 5 streets. Like, Censored Games just got bought out by Facebook. Of course, Censored Games were the guys that did Sly 4. So now what's gonna happen with Sly 5? Are they gonna give it to another developer? That would be pretty jank, honestly. Because then, unless they get the writers from the original trilogy, or at least Sly 4 or something, they're potentially gonna get a third interpretation of these characters, and that, I really don't want that to happen. Honestly, at this point, the Sucker Punch has to do it, or at least get the writers, like, or at least reassure us in that they're going to get the writers from the original games put onto this game. Of course, gameplay innovations and all that, they'll have to carry over from, of course, Sly 4, improve on those. It says here that a vast majority of Censored employees were joining the Oculus studios to work on, Oculus VR games, and that an unknown number of employees will depart the company with the transition because they were working on other games that weren't, I guess, Oculus games. So yeah, looks like time is running out, hope is looking bad. But I'm not hearing footsteps, because there's nobody there. Platinum Games has been doing this whole Platinum 4 thing. This is where they're announcing 4 different secret projects they've been working on. The first announcement was for Wonderful 101 Remaster. Now, if you have not played Wonderful 101, definitely get off your ass and play it when it comes out, or support the Kickstarter, because the whole remaster is being funded by the Kickstarter, and you get like a bunch of extra stuff with it. It's actually a pretty good deal, considering this game is my third favorite Wii U game, I'd say, behind Xenoblade Chronicles X and Smash 4. I freaking love just playing through this game, seeing all the different crazy things you can do with Unite Morphs, and just playing through the game over and over again. So definitely check that game out. They also announced, their second announcement was Project GG, which they only announced with a cinematic trailer, and the one interesting thing about this is that this is the first time Platinum Games is going to self-publish. Now, I personally did not know at all that they didn't own any IPs of any of the games they made so far. they've been given the IPs by other companies, so like Sega with Mad World and Anarchy Reigns and Bayonetta 1, and then Nintendo with Bayonetta 2 and Astral Chain. It actually says a lot about the company that these companies would go to Platinum to make these games for them. So just based on that gives me a lot more confidence, because I imagine the companies probably had some sort of creative control over the games to some degree. So this is their playground right here. This is where they can thrive and really show that they are that developer that me and many other people build them up as. They're making their own brand new IP and their own brand new game, publishing it on their own. This is going to be the test to see how good of a developer they truly are. And I am very excited to see what they're going to pull off of this. They said to just imagine what the game's going to be like just based on the trailer, which is kind of lame, but of course the game is probably in very early development. It's probably no gameplay. There's probably no gameplay developed for it yet. I'd say Platinum Games and Monolith are my two favorite modern game developers. Like, it seems like they can't do any wrong when it comes to making original games. Because of course with Platinum Games they made those licensed games, and of course they weren't really that good because they just kind of took mechanics from already pre-existing games they've made and just put it into that. They haven't given us the other two announcements yet, but we'll probably hear about those pretty dang soon. So the Game Awards happened, and it turns out Nintendo's announcement was that they were making a Bravely Default 2. Now, if I had recorded my reaction to this, it would have been excitement and then confusion. Because Bravely Default already has a sequel in Bravely Second. And now I see all these people saying, wow, I can't believe they're making a sequel to Bravely Default. And I'm just like, I would have much preferred Bravely Third. I don't know if this game is going to continue that. It doesn't even look like it has the same characters or anything. So I hope they eventually make a Bravely Third, or at least continuation with those characters, because they left it on a cliffhanger. I thought they had a nice thing going on with the naming, you know, Bravely Default, then Bravely Second, then Bravely Third, then maybe a Bravely Fourth, then Fifth, and Sixth. You know, similar to Final Fantasy, how it just keeps numbering the games. But, and of course, when they revealed it, they didn't hardly really even show any gameplay. They showed like a pan of like the four main characters. But I'm hyped for it either way. I love this team's games. They seem to be putting out a game every other year. So like Bravely Default came out in 2014, then Bravely Second in 2016, and Octopath in 2018. So excited to see what they bring new to the table for this game. Animal Crossing will not support cloud saves. Now there's multiple layers to this issue. First off, in the game you can only have one island per Switch, which I think makes sense considering the other games that have came before it, except for like the GameCube where you have a different memory card and then you can put that island in that memory card. Now it's just tied to the system, I guess. That would be fine, but now since they don't have cloud saves, you don't have a way to transfer it to a new Switch. If you get a new Switch, like say a Switch Pro comes out, you can't put that island on that Switch, so that's kind of screwed. But they also mentioned that they're gonna have a way to possibly do that, like another way of cloud saving. I'm not sure why they don't have cloud saving in the first place, because they said their reason was to prevent cheating. And you know what I say about cheating? Everybody's gonna cheat anyway. Doesn't matter if you get rid of cloud savings, cheaters are gonna find a way to cheat any damn way. Doesn't matter if you don't have cloud saving. That, and it's freaking Animal Crossing. Who's actually gonna care? who's actually gonna care if they cheat in Animal? How do you even cheat in Animal Crossing? Doesn't make any damn sense, as usual. But like I said, this is why I don't pay for Switch Online, because you pay for cloud saving and then they make games that don't have said cloud saving. Doesn't make any sense. But it is good that they addressed the problem in that Animal Crossing Direct. They also had that, and they addressed that issue by just saying the same thing, really, saying that they're gonna have another version of cloud saving. So it's good that they're really emphasizing it somewhat. Now I'm probably gonna wait on it for probably like maybe a couple weeks just to see how it is. This game Besides that, this game definitely looks to have the potential to be the best Animal Crossing game, like by far. The things that they're doing in this game seem pretty similar to what they did in Fire Emblem, Mario, and Zelda, bringing it to the next level. Like, what blew my mind is you could freaking dig up land and make waterfalls. Like, what in the hell is that about? And then you can make like little puddles, and it was crazy. And there's a lot of customization in this game too. Like, you can make your dream island. It's like, what in the hell? It looks really, really good for you Animal Crossing fans. Like I said, I'm gonna be checking this game out. Hopefully it'll be the game that gets me to figure out why people like this series so much. We'll see. NIS America held a stream to show off the Switch version of Trails of Cold Steel. For those who don't know, NIS America is the guys that go and translate Japanese games and bring them over to America. So a game like The Caligula Effect, they translated that game and brought it over here. So an NIS representative has actually come out on live stream and saying that they actually change certain dialogue in the game because they deem it as sexist jokes or to make it culturally appropriate for the US. I'm like, first off, there's no such thing as a non-offensive joke. Secondly, all you have to do is translate the game. I'm hearing all these things about how they're changing character names to stupid things. They reportedly have like bugs in the new games that weren't in the original Japanese games. I'm like, do I need to remind you of that ease translation that happened? Like, just you have one sole job: translate the game and bring it over. It's really not that hard. And it gets even worse when you call Japan sexist for making jokes. We don't care about what you guys think about the dialogue. Just translate the dialogue directly over. Just translate it over and we will support you. Don't say nonsense like this and we won't support you. Speaking of censorship, unfortunately, Persona 5 Royal has been censored. They changed a predatory scene in the game. This was a scene where Ryuji is getting bothered by two men. From the original, who cares? Nobody cares. When I saw this scene originally, I saw it and I instantly forgot it because it is not even 1% of this entire game. It is not even like 0.0001% of this game. It is such a small, minute part. I instantly forgot about this, and this situation reminded me of it. That's how much it doesn't matter in the game. It literally does not matter, which means, since it doesn't matter, don't change it. Don't go out of the way to change it because it's not relevant. Who cares? Except for weirdos that want things changed. This reset error place, like, how in the world do we have companies listening to people cry and complain on this stupid forum, but we don't have companies listening to the fans when it's the majority? They listen to the minority instead of the majority on these things. It doesn't make any sense at all. The majority of people, 99.9% of people do not care. Who knows if the people that are even complaining about this even buy these games in the first place? They probably don't. As we've seen many times, these people have said, oh, they changed it, well, I'm still not gonna buy it. Exactly. You weren't ever gonna buy it in the first place. All you want to do is complain about stuff that nobody cares about. Just, oh my god. The fact that things can get censored by such a small group of people is insane to me. That is crazy. But there is a upside to this. You can still buy Persona 5 Royale through buying the Asian version of the game. It won't feature the dub, of course, but it will feature English subs and it'll have everything still in it. And it's not like censored or anything because it already came out in Japan. So that's something. Now I have to talk about this. I have to. Pokemon Sword and Shield is getting DLC. Announced 2 months after the game comes out. This game is so clearly incomplete and such a low quality product compared to all previous mainline Pokemon games, to the point where they're giving you DLC so quickly after the original game released to actually complete said incomplete game. In this expansion, they're adding 200 plus Pokemon. Why? Why couldn't they delay this game? There's no reason we needed a Pokemon game last year. There's no reason. If they just delayed this game and put all the stuff that was in this DLC in the game and improve the graphics and do everything else that people wanted them to do, who knows how good this game could have been. But instead we gotta pay significantly more for this half-assed game. And they said they want to do it because they didn't want another third version. But when in reality, first off, this game was overpriced in the first dang place, because you're getting more for less by paying $20 extra than even Sun and Moon, which had all of the Pokemon and infinitely more and the ability to turn off experience share. Doesn't make any sense at all. Why that's... I still can't believe that's forced on you. That doesn't make any sense. Anyways, the previous games were $40, right? This game is $60. So if we were to buy, I don't know, the third version of, say, Sun and Moon, if that was a thing. Alright, so we'll say Black and White. Black and White 2, which I heard is actually one of the best Pokemon games. Say you were to buy that, it'd be $80. Now you're paying $60 for the original game, then you're adding on $30 for this expansion pass. And it's just, that's more than just buying another version of the original handheld games. And then we get into this whole Pokemon Home thing, and then Pokemon Bank, and we gotta transfer all these Pokemon going through all these holes. Like, oh my god, this game is a travesty. I just wish they would have took more time on this game. I really do. God, this game was looking like it could have been something special, but they just didn't have the heart to care. And it's sad. E3 seems to be changing this year. I'm not sure how I feel about this, because it seems like they're not going to be doing the conference thing anymore, which really sucks, because now, especially with Nintendo, you know, I always complain about how they're not on stage anymore, but now, especially after E3 2019, it seems like that is the thing I'm going to miss now. Like, all they really have to do is just do what they did last year, and they'll pretty much, like, clearly win. But it seems like they're going to be inviting internet celebrities. I'm very worried about this year's E3. There'll obviously be some good announcements, but it's definitely not going to be the same feel, which is very unfortunate. And also because Sony isn't going again. There's two things that this could mean. This could mean that, one, we're seeing cocky Sony again for the PS3 era, or two, they're holding out on E3 to wait to see what the competition is going to do, so they can then counter with whatever they're going to do, deciding the price of the PS5. And then there's also, like, apparently 2 models coming out for it as well. At this point, we're just waiting for the PS5 to be revealed. Of course, there's a very low chance I'll be getting it within, like, the first couple years, because coupled with the censorship and the fact that I don't think any of the games they're going to reveal are going to really surprise me that much or get me hyped for it. But I just want this thing to be revealed already, because Xbox revealed their Xbox Series X at the Game Awards, which is a really weird name. But yeah, of course, as we get closer to E3, everything will be at least a little more clear on what's going to be going on. So a lot of games actually got delayed for varying reasons, so let's go over them. First off, this Fairy Tail game got delayed, and that was from May 19th to now June 25th on PC and June 26th on PS4 and Switch. And that was due to improving the quality of the game. Last of Us Part 2 got delayed. Now, the thing about this one is that they announced the game and the release date and everything, and then they announced that the game wouldn't have an online multiplayer mode, at least at launch, which I thought was crazy, because now we're getting a sequel to this game that had online multiplayer, and now the sequel is going to remove that entire mode. That was just really weird. And of course they did say that they would put it in later, which I thought was really whack, because we're just going to be paying $60 and then we're going to get the multiplayer mode. It's like with GTA 5, like why don't just launch both at the same time? So they didn't actually say in this quote here, but I imagine it was to put that online mode in from the start. If not, that's still whack. And it was also to improve the game as well and make it, as best as it can possibly be, which is how it should be. I'm glad that game developers are delaying games now, because it shows that they care. CyberPunk 2077 also got delayed to September 17 from its original release date in April, and the reason for that was to also improve the game. And then Marvel's Avengers got delayed by a pretty long time, September 4th now, from the original date that was in May. This was also to improve the quality of the game as well. And then Final Fantasy VII Remake got delayed by just a month, and that was to also improve the quality of the game. And then, doesn't stop, Empire of Sin got delayed from spring 2020 to now fall 2020. That looks like a really damn good game. And I like this quote here. As any good bootlegger knows, good liquor can't be rushed, and the same goes for game development. That looked really cool. It was like a strategy game in Chicago. And lastly, Honey Pop 2 Double Date, which is the best sequel name of all time. This game got delayed due to the creator of the game actually have some pretty serious health issues. Now, at the end of the day, the people creating all these games for us, they're only human. I'm glad that he's focusing on his health above the video game, because he knows his priorities. And I'm also glad that he's getting support. And as he says in here, the game has already been heavily delayed already, so he understands like the patience and support that he's getting. Really quick, the voice actor for V actually might have accidentally leaked a new Capcom Versus game, and this leak actually came from this tweet that he made. Absolutely pumped for the next Capcom Versus game. New characters, but could be very familiar. This is some red flags for me, because we all know what happened with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinites, with those horrendous faces and just a very bad looking game, and the roster especially being really pathetic compared to 2 and 3. Hopefully they can make a comeback with this series, because that was pretty embarrassing. That game was pretty embarrassing. This will probably be revealed at EVO, I'd imagine, because they have Marvel vs. Capcom 2 actually coming back at EVO, so I imagine it'd be revealed like around that time. Of course, the Sonic the Hedgehog movie released just a couple weeks ago, and I gotta say, it was actually pretty good. It turned out a lot better than what I ever would have thought it'd been. Honestly, I don't really have too much to say about it. It was just like a really good movie. It was kind of weird, because it's pretty rare that we just see a good movie come out, especially out of Hollywood. That was really strange. There was no like weirdo stuff in it, or there was nothing really surrounding it. Everything had been covered beforehand with the redesign and the backlash to that, and the action that the director took to fix that design by actually listening to the fans. So it pretty much won over everybody before the movie, and it all came down to the quality and turned out pretty good. I really don't have that much to say about it. I guess one thing I can say is that I like this version of Eggman a lot. He was probably one of my favorite parts about the movie, and they nailed Sonic's character. I really like Sonic's character arc throughout this movie, because it makes sense considering who he is as a character. He's a cocky character, but also cares for his friends. That's all I can say about it, though. The movie's actually breaking a lot of records too, and the movie deserves it. If you haven't seen the movie, definitely go see it. I think it's worth watching, even if you're not a Sonic fan. So, yeah, it was a good movie. And for this week's game highlight, I want to point out Thief's Roulette. Now, this is a Kickstarter game, and it's being made by fans of the Danganronpa and Zero Escape series. You're one of 15 thieves, and you have to compete against other thieves in a game of deception and trust. Now, it seems like the choices you make and the rivalries you make and everything is going to determine who dies and if you live. It also looks like it's going to combine both Danganronpa and Zero Escape's elements and have really complex puzzles, and also, of course, having the potential of people dying. Definitely check out the trailers after this video, and I'll leave a link to that Kickstarter in the description, of course. Yes, that's it for this week's gaming news video. We talked about a lot of stuff. Of course, as always, let me know your thoughts on any of the topics mentioned. That's it for this video. I'm going to get back to playing Roof Factory 4, and I'll see you guys next time. It looks crazy. It looks really, really good for you Animal Crossing games. Animal Crossing games. That's not what you guys are.